the blackouts in Spain and Portugal earlier this year, there was a suggestion, and I have heard from a number of sources, different sources, that the reason for the blackouts was a large part due to poor integration of renewables into the grid, the infrastructure. They've put out a report that said, yep, the widespread blackout was the most severe in Europe in the last 20 years. And the reason, now the Association of Electric Grid Operators did the report, so obviously they're going to be biased in their own way. It was because of overvoltage in the network and led to cascading failures, and people died because of it, etc., and so on and so forth. Power systems and everything else, over voltages cascaded and shut down. I mean, the US, well, the US has had a series of failures. One, ice on the wires. One was, what was the one in Texas? Cascading failure as well. But anyway, investigations from different, by the government as well as power and grid companies. I didn't realise until recently just how split or divided politics was in Spain. I mean, I knew Basques, which had always pushed for their own region. The Catalans had been doing so to a lesser extent, but I didn't realise there was a conservative / liberalised split as much as there was, and that it's not as smooth as it might appear on the surface. So, yep, they did the investigation. Obviously, there's different groups complaining. The main provider and the private firms insisted they weren't to blame. Blamed the blackout on coal, gas, and nuclear power plants to maintain appropriate voltage, which and the utility said it's poor planning from grid operators, so blaming each other. That collecting complete high-quality data proved very challenging, so people didn't want to say what was really going on. The final report for the first quarter of next year, the outage triggered a broader debate about Spain's energy model. The opposition suggested an increasingly heavy reliance on renewables could have been a factor, and in fact that was one of the main things that was going around the traps after it had happened, that because renewables don't provide a very consistent base load, you need your other systems to fill in the gaps when that happens. So when you come back up here to the statement here of where was it? The statement that, here we go, the blackout on some coal, gas and nuclear power plants failed to help maintain appropriate voltage. They're basically admitting, without saying as much, that there was an issue with the other power generation on the network that wasn't stable enough, and these more traditional systems couldn't keep up. So the idea that people are saying, well, it's the renewables that caused it. Well, I mean, fundamentally, but depends on where down the pipeline you point the finger as to what was caused it. And so the government said, no, it's rejected and careful to avoid taking sides. Well, they just did. So, and it didn't help that power plants shut down during the blackout as well. It caused issues. But it'll be interesting to see who gets blamed as it moves forward. And yeah, it's certainly a concern for people that, well, high levels of renewables in your network don't provide a steady supply, which the grid needs to stay viable. And it's hard to balance that. So it's one of those things.